Welcome to the Yadusha Show, District 29's favorite podcast.
Stick around, this is God's country.
David Gomez is running for Las Vegas City Council Ward 3. He is a native Nevadan who, in 2001, earned his Juris Doctorate degree from Abraham Lincoln University School of Law. His career experience includes working as a business consultant, executive assistant, and CEO. Today, David is working tirelessly to earn your vote, and he's on the line with us now. How you doing, David?
I'm doing good.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Well, I'll tell you what, we know you're a busy man, and we wanted to ask you a few questions, let the voters know a little more about you. So, Yadusha, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you again, David, for being on. Really do appreciate it. I know that you are a native of Nevada, and you see how much it's changed over the years, as well as I have. What strategies do you support to tackle the homelessness in the area that you're in?
So homelessness is a broad spectrum of across the whole entire Clark County, state, all the way up to Reno.
Right.
It's not a one-person deal. A person can't just say, and this is what really makes me think and wonder about candidates. The problem is with homelessness is that we face many factors. Some have mental deficiencies, others are just and down and out and they just can't get up, and others are in a revolving door of drug or alcohol substance abuse. So in order to tackle this, you have to meet them where they are, find out where the problems are, and try to create a solution that's going to cater to them to get them out of this situation or get them the help they need. Now, after talking to some of the homeless people in my area, some of them even have their own conclusion about the ones that are a little far out mentally. They say that those ones that are like that are not mental because they're in the streets. They're like that because they're becoming mental in that state of mind because it's called untreated syphilis. And I couldn't understand it at first. One lady's a CNA, and she explained it to me. And she's homeless as well. And she said, this causes a lot of problems. She goes, these guys get syphilis and they have untreated it, and then it actually turns into something else. So by trying to figure out exactly how we're going to tackle the homeless and how we're going to get rid of it, there is no easy fix or solution to that. There is no, I'm going to do it in this amount of time or that amount of time. It's more like...
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm glad you said that, because it definitely does take a team effort across the board to find a good resolution, because there's so many types of homelessness. And you can't just keep throwing money at it or throwing food at it. You have to find the root of the problem.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of politicians, and it makes me wonder, if they really think that people are naive or just believe anything they say, just because they can make it sound good when they say it. But the truth of the matter is that you just can't tackle it in one blow. It takes a while, it takes a time, and it takes multiple people to be involved to help get it done.
What improvements or developments do you see as priority for transportation and infrastructure?
The traffic is what causes the most problems with transportation. It's not like a set thing like, okay, well, we don't have enough RTC buses. We don't have enough of X, Y, and Z. It's just that traffic and these cones especially causes such a delay for people.
Right, and that's exactly what I was getting at, because it's not a RTC thing. I'm like, we have plenty of buses, we have plenty of vehicles, and it is a lot of traffic. And the problem I see is the cones. That's the state flower down these days. So I completely agree with we need more organization when it comes to how often cones are out and how long they're there.
Exactly.
Now, as far as the crime in your neighborhood, I know that there's So
Okay,
what?
now, now we're
Hey,
talking about massive parts of East Las Vegas.
right. And
Uh,
like, I know that there's a lot of crime in that area, and we both know that there's many ways it could be fixed. What measures do you propose to reduce crime and enhance the overall safety of the community?
I have, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not here to talk negatively about anybody whatsoever. I'm going to express the truth and nature of what it is. Metro Police does not have the support they need financially from the city in our area to make sure that the money that is being allocated to them goes to good use for more patrol, more visibility, and we can have more officers on the street at one time so that we can help reduce the crime in our area. Now, the problem is that because there is not enough police presence, and I noticed that, and I have had that conversations with the captain on First Tuesdays and outside of First Tuesdays. So tackling crime is to show the people that are committing the crimes that the police are here. They're constantly moving. They're constantly moving around and rotating and doing what they need to do to be visible so that people know that, okay, there's a possibility if I commit a crime, I might be arrested.
And I completely agree. We definitely need more police. And one of the biggest issues is that people do not want to be officers because the police aren't able to police anymore. They're like positive reinforcement officers. They can't police anymore. So I think that's one of the issues there. On top of the NRS 205 crime bill, there's nothing that can truly be done when there's people running into stores and actually robbing the stores and robbing people's homes, and they can get away with it up to $1,200. And that's why one of the bills that I want to push is to actually revert that, amend that down to $250 versus $1,200.
So that would be great. But the problem with the problem with felonies is that they're classified under a certain structure. Now, sometimes felonies don't make sense because I own tax offices and a guy doesn't pay his taxes. And now he has a felony because it exceeded a certain amount of money. Maybe he has 12 kids. It's classified in such a broad spectrum that, even if we do reduce the amount of money so it becomes a felony, I don't know if that's going to really help the situation, because then criminals, that it's kind of weird. Criminals, they get more creative. And when they become more creative, yeah, they might not smash and grab like they were doing. Bringing the bar down on the amount of money will and can help, but it all depends on how it's structured.
Yeah, and I agree that that isn't the only thing that needs to be fixed. We have so much more that we need to tackle. Just the other day, I was at the store with my daughter, and we were there for 3 minutes before somebody ran out with a shopping cart full of stuff. And the employees just stood there and looked, and they looked at us. And my daughter looked at the employee and said, "You're not going to stop them?" And I was like, "For what? That happens 5 times a day."
Yeah. And you know what? The corporations, like, I'm just going to name some stores, and I'm not saying these stores actually are having this problem, but I know they all share the same problem. Kroger, Smith's, Dillon's, Albertsons, Walmart, their grocery side of it or their merchandise side of it. Yeah, there's a difference between someone that's stealing to aid their addiction or aid some kind of need of a financial support, which is not the right thing to do. But then we have those who obviously go in the store and steal necessity items, which I still don't agree with, and I still don't condone to that behavior because they don't have a means or a way to get out of whatever situation there is. And sometimes they run in the store and they steal food. And I mean, you can't really steal a T-bone steak and expect it to last all day while you're trying to flip it in the street or trying to turn it over to get a revenue for that particular food, because it'll go bad. They can't sell it at that point. So some of these guys are stealing food to actually eat, and others are stealing because of their addictional habits or their need for financial gain. So,
but aren't they all crimes, though? I mean, whether you're stealing to eat or get. I'm sorry. I wanted to jump in because it just seems to me if it's a crime, it's a crime. And granted, if people need to eat, then that's what we need to. That's an issue that needs to be dealt with. But we can't excuse the crime.
I agree, because once we excuse one crime, then we start excusing other crimes.
That's right.
Because we know that inflation is here, inflation is real, and it's rough for everybody. But because when people are stealing, no matter how little it is, we as the taxpayer still have to foot that bill, and our taxes get increased. So it's like, I understand that people are struggling. Everybody's struggling, but don't make it worse for everybody too.
Yeah, that's
no, and I agree. I agree, because then what happens is more inflation happens when
that's right.
When a store can't recover its loss.
That's right.
So if they can't recover their loss, and I know this as a business owner for several different type of businesses, it's like CC's Pizzas all the way down to different other type of industries. When you can't recover your loss, you have to recover it one way or another. And that's either by inflation or adding more increments to each and every item that you have in there to cover all of that.
Well, David, I'm sorry, but we have run out of time, you guys. I hate to say this, but I do want to ask you something on a lighter note than inflation and crime. I wanted to ask you, how might you be related to the young man that's running for county commissioner in District D? How is that relationship?
That is my youngest adult son. He's been around me since day one. He's been in legislation with me. He stood behind me. He's even testified in Clark County School District as a 12-year-old kid on different levels. Yeah. So, I that's my son. He stands and believes in what I believe in. And like I tell everybody, God comes first in my life. And I live under the standard of, we serve God first, and we will serve people appropriately, because then we'll serve them under the guise of, as we serve our Creator, my son. So that's why he's running, because he sees a lot of troubles and problems in the area. And, and I teach him the same values,
Right. And we got that. We really did see a reflection of his father in him as we interviewed him.
Amazing role model.
The apple don't fall too far from the tree.
That's fantastic. And by the way, guys, don't forget, the voting is happening in Nevada right now as we speak. And if you are unsure if you are in David Gomez's district, or if you are in his ward, or if you're in his son's district, please give us a call. You can also go to the nvsos.org. Is it org or gov? I think it might be .com. But make sure that you call us. We will talk to you about that at 702-479-7355. We need volunteers as well, not only for us, but for our friends like David. We need to get the word out. Yadusha, any last words before we sign off?
Yes, if you before you go out to vote, make sure you do your research. Make sure you look at people, what they stand for, because right now is a crucial time to vote, and we need all the right people in office.
That's right.
So vote down the ballot and make sure you vote for Yadusha Williams.
Okay, and
District 29.
Yadusha Williams, Assembly District 29. David Gomez, right now, who is running for Las Vegas City Council Ward 3. David, thank you so much for joining us today.